Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Night Shift here.
Hello,
for
production?
Deadlock. Why are you so tall?
Hey,
what's going on?
Jason, your camera's really low. Maybe we should tell you this instead of making you look like an absolute twat on camera. Bruh.
My camera's like off to the side is what I've learned.
It's my problem. Okay. It's my problem, apparently. You know what? Keep going, James. We got this. We'll do it live.
Yeah, I'll let you do what you want. You are taller than me, but not, well, actually, I was about to say not that tall. Yes, you are that much taller than me. Yes, it's terrible. All right, we are here for Deadlock Night Shift 27. We're back for EU, and then, of course, the American games are coming up on straight after. My name's Kalaris, once again here with good old Jason Kaplan. And for the first time ever working on a show together, Mr. ZP. How are you doing, man?
Doing good. And yeah, now you mention it, it is the first time, even though I feel like we've been in each other's spheres, like, here and there over the years, seen each other at events, careful nods here and there. But yeah, finally working the show together. We
Why
did
were
it.
the nods careful, ZP?
They just got to be.
You don't want to get any of the
games,
ginge on you,
maybe?
I could understand.
Meanwhile, me and Jason, of course, have been in each other's sphere for almost a decade and a half, and
We've roomed together before, actually. What event was that? What event was that we roomed together? We slept in this. Esports was wild back in the days. Talent would room together. I got to see talent naked that I didn't ever expect to see naked as they drunkenly stumbled throughout the room. But what event was it that we slept in the same room?
Singapore.
Was it Katowice? Singapore?
Yes.
Kalaris learned a lot about me that day and has blackmail on me that we'll never talk about, right, James?
No, of course. It was a week I had to enjoyed that stay together. It was a great old time. But yes, we have definitely been around for a long one.
Hey, I got cheated. I had to share a room with Jason at one event. It was a PAX East, and I didn't get any blackmail material out of the event. That
Did
was
we
just
share a room
terrible.
together?
We did, yes.
For the Overwatch events in Boston?
Yes, we did.
Huh. I don't remember that.
Times have changed. Jason's been a changed man from my rooming with him to your rooming with him. What a treat.
Guys, gentlemen, do you have to fight over me, okay? We can all room together, all three of us. Chill, okay? We got the night shift to talk about, though, James. We got amazing action coming your way today. We had not only finally all 6 heroes in the game being played last week, but we have to see some iterations and adaptations coming into Night Shift 27.
Yeah, it's exciting, right? I mean, looking at how things go for Europe, of course, everyone looks ZP at Abrahams, the Titans here to try and topple as we take a look at the brackets overall. Later on, of course, we got North America, where they're going to have to try and topple the melee creeps, right? Who are seemingly running away with things over there as well.
Yeah, you take a look at the Deadlock scene. I mean, really, this has been the longest run of dominance that we've had from both an EU team and an NA team at the same time in the game's history. EU at one point used to be the Holy Trinity. NA used to be, Hydra Nation on top for 4 weeks in a row. Then they would lose, kick half their roster, recruit half of another roster, come back and be number one. And these patterns that define 2025 have not been the pattern of 2026, where so far it has been the year of Abrahams and melee creeps both, respectively.
Right, definitely so. And in Europe here, Jason, we have had a little bit of back and forth between Lowkey W and Leviathan trying to challenge, I'm not going to fall for it, the position where Abrahams is up at the very top. But there's even been a little bit of an adjustment here from Leviathan here to try and come into this week.
I'm so excited to see this matchup, actually. For me, this has been a interesting time in EU. Seeing Ballistic and Shark come back into the scene, first of all, back into Night Shift, which is honestly a fantastic thing to have because they're such experienced players. But to see from their inception in Lowkey W and the growth they've had as a team, I mean, last week in Night Shift, they almost took a map off Abrahams with relative ease, thinking back to that last week. Again, some macro plays, I think they were making some missteps in, but that's what you're going to expect when you have a team coming together and still figuring each other out. But we also have to see some new things, like, well, not even new, but like seeing Sinclair being pulled out of tracks, which was great to see. It didn't work out in the end, but to see that they're pushing Abraham to the brink, albeit maybe in some games Abrahams aren't necessarily trying as hard when it comes to the draft, but I think Abrahams have to keep their head on straight here because Lowkey W, I think, are coming for him.
Yeah, maybe. Last week, as you say, there was the bit of that challenge coming along ZP. I enjoyed the Lowkey W versus Leviathan game last week because we didn't see Listic on Silver. He brought out the Drifter. I want to see more Drifter this week. I think he's a scary individual. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm not 100% sold on the Drifter. I mean, in terms of what's in the wheelhouse there. But yeah, I mean, look, it was good to see some new things getting played. I think as far as heroes that are going to go up in priority, I actually think Venator is going to continue to go up in priority. He was already picked in every single game last week from NA to EU. But I think people are kind of realizing, wait, this hero is actually really good as an M1 option. Gonna see more of that. But I will say, to Lowkey... Sorry, go ahead.
It wasn't even M1. It was let me just take gut shot and just melee charge, melee build Venator, echo sharded as well, because let's just hit you with like 2k damage instantly. Like that, I thought that was so cool to see, honestly.
Jason, I'm upping no. I want you to come to their senses. I don't love the melee Ven build. Like, I think you go to North America, you look at John. He's playing good, clean, honest, just buff the weapon Venator, who still does good melee damage, but you get everything else. Like, no, I actually think NA over the melee Venator, entirely a point. But the one thing I wanted to touch on is just the idea that for Lowkey W, I've heard mixed things, but apparently Lightbringer is like half coaching the team, is what I've come to. Or Lightbringer is just saying, I've been given some advice here and there. Meanwhile, I got other teams like, no, he's totally the coach of the team. So I'm splitting it down the middle. They've gotten some guidance, but clearly they looked better last week.
Well, I did see that as well. We actually want to talk about the Patreons before we get onto the priorities from last week as well, because I do believe we have to thank our top tiers, as well as everybody contributing to the Patreon here for the Deadlock Night Shift. The board members at the top here, Jason, holding strong for another week.
Yeah, you know what? I think we always talk about the top tier. I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say this every week, because you know what? It's great. It's great to have Affex, Tetsio, Matthew, and Damo there for our top tiers for 250 support. But you know what? It's about any support you can give us. That's what we love here. And you know what? I'm going to call out another person here. I hope you guys are looking, and I'm hoping, ooh, I see one that I want. Oh, I see. Okay, I think I've done it before, but I'm going to do it again. Soraka's Big Banana. Thank you so much for your support here on a Patreon. Who do you have, ZP?
I gotta go back, and I've called out this name before, but now I'm just confused where it's on twice. I don't know if it's double the support. Our thing is just double counting, but we got Coppet in there at both $5 and $10. The mythical hidden, like, you know, the secret menu at fast food places. Well, you got the secret menu apparently on the Patreon where you combine the Night Shift Chief and Night Shift Resident for the $15 for Coppet, who I see there twice.
Fair. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna call out one as well. Yeah, G. You see that guy? G. Yes, you.
Bruh.
What do you mean, bro?
You're not wrong. But again, like all the support you guys give us here over our Patreon, it helps keep the shows going, and we massively appreciate every single one of you. Even if you don't have the money to support us on Patreon, that's fine, as long as you're here every week enjoying the show and you're not running ad blocker, most importantly. But all in all, that you love Deadlock and you love competitive Deadlock, and not only support us, we support the players who are constantly streaming and putting on the content for you guys every week.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. You get to watch a lot of their POVs throughout the week as well, as they're kind of getting geared up for the night shift, which is always very, very exciting. But of course, we have the priorities from last week and kind of how those heroes fell into place. Celeste was able to get through some drafts here, ZP, with some success here and there, and some not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think Celeste went 2 and 3 on the day. The hero that was on fraud alert all day long, where, again, my theory on it is I think the hero is good, but was getting a little bit overvalued with Silver, because Silver, her win rate is not good right now. It is sub 33% overall since she has been available in the game. So you look at them and be like, oh man, Silver's awesome. And then you look at the results and the teams are picking Silver, we're just losing. So I do wonder if she's going to maintain her first pick stats today. I think, again, if anything, may go up and start, you know, encroaching on that a little bit more. Is that you had one first pick for Venator last week. I think this week he's going to come in and not only cut more first picks, but also probably a few bans as well.
What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, I think this, and that was an unintentional, bro, I swear. Is that it feels like the further we go into these night shifts, the less spread of hero picks we have. And I know we have 6 new heroes into the game, but seeing this many heroes on 0 picks, I think we have never seen before. And every week it seems to grow more and more and more as this kind of like meta gets more refined and the heroes that people want to play get more locked in. What do you think, ZP? Because this is, maybe I'm wrong, but this is like crazy to see that many heroes on 0 picks.
I think it just comes down to people have optimized to where they just see some of these heroes as not really being worth picking over other options. And I think the one hero where you see that most significantly after all 6 new heroes got brought in, where she went from being very actively sought after, the often being picked in the first part of the draft, to simply not being picked at all right now, is Yamato. And that kind of goes to how teams are formulating for the draft here, where it is very easy to go from you are always picked to never picked, so long as there's at least one more better option over you, which means I think the way you interpret this is that people are picking more for general power, and there's less of a meta right now of specifically, I want to pick hero A because it is very good against hero B. Like, you don't have the hero pool isn't deep enough yet to get to that level of counter picking, so it's kind of a strength thing overall.
One thing's for sure, though, the new 6 heroes have really shaken things up, right? Celeste obviously up there, Silver up there, Venator up there. Rem is an extra nuisance for a lot of people going up against, not only in these games, I would say, to the point where people are banning it against the likes of Abraham's in that final there, Jason, but also in your casual games as well. Rem's having some effects here and there.
I know someone who wants to Iradomini Rem over and over and just enjoy the blissful sounds of Rem dying. But before we get to that, because someone in chat was like, you know what, Jason, if I alter my Patreon support, my pledge, up to $100, we edit it live. Well, guess what, Sketch JJ? Let's throw it up on the screen. A new $100 supporter, AJ, coming through here. And if you also adapt your pledge to $100 from wherever you are, except if you're $250, stay there, please. We'll show it live. It'll happen live. We'll come right back to this, okay?
Good save.
I would have loved if one of the top 4 would have been like, yeah, I'm going to adjust it just so they'll show my name again. So ridiculous. But thank you very much, AJ, for that. Now an executive of the night shift here to keep things going. So exciting times ahead, of course, for all of these games that are going to be coming along. Do we get to look at the item priority as well before we get to this first game?
We can do whatever you want, James.
They're so good. There's listening. Oh, I love it so much. Counterspell being number 1. Surprise, surprise. It is just high skill, high benefit items, EP, to be able to take that number 1 spot.
Yeah, and for me, I actually think this is a healthy sign here. There have been murmurs of people going, okay, when are we going to nerf green items? I don't know. I feel like this means that the orange items and purple items are in a pretty good state, that you're not seeing too much overrepresented there. And also, I think if you have to have an item be picked at the very top of the game, Counterspell is probably one of the healthier items to be in that category, given the fact that it is pretty skill-based and makes for really good reaction play when it is used effectively. Like, I'm good with Counterspell being number 1.
Bro, the new debuff remover is what Counterspell has become, right? You don't have to debuff remove something if you prevent it from being applied to you. Yeah, completely agree with what every point you said there. The fact that you have to have some level of skill with it to use it, I think it makes it very important. But also, I'm still happy to see Stamina Mastery rise through the ranks. I mean, we just see almost all green on this page, but we talk every week about how important movement is in this game, and Stamina Mastery just unlocks a whole new level of movement that you couldn't access without this item.
Yeah, definitely. Good old Spirit Resistance being able to be up there as well. Of course, very kind of spirit-heavy meta for the moment. Battle Vest's a little bit further down to try and deal with some of those M1 characters, but for the most part, I think people are kind of ignoring your eventual, like, blobs on Wardens, for example, eventually coming and wrecking face towards the end game, because they need to survive towards that, and Spirit Resilience is very useful for a lot of that ZP.
Yeah, I mean, Spirit Resilience makes a lot of sense. It's kind of interesting where even the metas where sometimes a public opinion be like, it's a gun meta, and then you actually go back and look at the results of Night Shift and you go, well, wait, it's like 2 heroes in the game that are building gun. Your M1 carries, like your heroes like Warden or, at a time Wraith, and then everyone else is going Spirit. So when the bulk of your characters in the game are building Spirit primarily, Spirit Resilience is, of course, going to be a really high value item.
That's an interesting topic. I don't know if we have time to discuss it, but the game, I think, is determined by your Spirit heroes, for sure. Especially with the way the game's played right now in the meta. And I wonder what will ever be done. Will they ever change where the game can be decided to a later stage, to an earlier stage? Will gun ever be effective in the current factor of the game, considering it doesn't really matter how far ahead you necessarily get early game if, like, the Spirit heroes and enemy team are destroying your team? I think that's a really interesting, like, talking point, and even maybe a topic discussed on a podcast someday, Kalaris, of how important Spirit is in the mid game and how it controls and affects how a game's played out.
We kind of talked about the flow of the games, of competitive games compared to kind of casual games, and how they are so different, right? And it feels like in competitive, those Spirit heroes are the ones that carry you through into that mid game to have that map control, and then that enables your M1 character to really farm ZP and get strong and, just soak up the rest of the map, and then they can really come online.
Yeah, it's also interesting too how, like, the M1 heroes have changed overall too, in terms of, like, what heroes you actually want to run. Do you want to run 1 or 2? On top of that, where it kind of settled into the thing of, like, okay, 1 gun hero per team, and that also, by the way, goes back to the hero priority. And you're like, why are some of these heroes not being picked? It's like, well, if you're only going to run 1 sort of gun style carry on a team, at most you're going to get 2 of those per game, right? So that's also really hurting the pick rates of some other heroes that would typically see in those roles, heroes like Seven, Wraith, etc.
Yeah. We should have you on, Jason. We should have you on ZP if one day if you want to come along. You guys let me on here. You should come on to our stuff. But anyway, let's take a look at our first team for our best of one to start things off in Europe, of course, as we will start off with Lowkey W, and they do not have any changes in the roster by the looks of things to start things off, Jason.
Well, do they? That's what I don't know, because Captain was a sub last week. Is he in or is Shark in?
It seems like he had.
That's a good question, because I didn't get updated one way or another. So we're going with Captain unless we see Sherrick show up there.
True.
Hapix is pretty good at updating me, but I legitimately could not tell you. I guess I could message Hapix right
now.
Okay.
Now I know, you don't necessarily work with the best production companies sometimes in some other games that you work on, but here at the Night Shift, we have a production crew who puts on fire and can immediately update a roster without having to go through checks through any publisher or any TO. We can just do it live here on air. That's got to feel good, right, James?
Wait, they're going to play with 7 people, Jason?
They're going to play with 7 people, James.
Holy moly!
So we're not sure who's coming in. If it's Captain or Shark, I think production. Lovely Solomon did tell. Oh, and even
whoa!
They got 8 people, bro.
Did he put me in there?
Bro, they're gonna put your camera in there in a second. Give Solomon a second.
Make him a McGinnis main.
Come on, don't do him like that.
Okay, I'm ready.
So, to talk about this team while production works its magic. Oh, there you go. Damn, Kalar's making his professional debut live here on the Night Shift.
Well, to be fair, I did win a tournament as McGinnis, but continue.
Okay. Now they kicked you off the team. I'm sorry. That was the quickest career as an esports professional. But this team, I remember talking to Trax not too long ago and discussing how this team's kind of forming together. And one thing he pointed out that was very important was that they're still trying to figure out how to play around the roles that they want to use in game. And I think a lot of that is revolved around Blob in particular. Trax was saying Blob is a very, very good player. They rely him to be the carry player later on. But to be honest, I haven't really seen him be that. And that's because Trax is saying they're still trying to figure out how to slot him in and work around him to unleash him and unlock him when it comes to playing in these matches. I think for the most part, it's been really focused around like Listic, to be perfectly honest. I think him and Cosmetical have been the ones to control the pace early to mid game and allowed Blob to get these like big soul leads and to allow them to close out some of these wins.
CP?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see how the team is evolving in terms of who is playing what. I think especially teams when they're new, like kind of go through a lot of, growing pains. Like you look at Melee Creeps, for example, and Saya went from being their main Paradox all-day player to suddenly becoming like one of the best supports. So, anytime you're locking in a new roster, you have times where people are just going, okay, what is going to work for us here? I am curious to see what Blob has in their pool other than just Warden. Like, I think Warden is fine right now. I also don't think that Warden is necessarily the absolute best case scenario for you to run on your team right now. For example, a lot of comps, while you can run both of them at the same time, I'd prefer to see, let's see Blob running on something like a Ven, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh on it, but the Warden jail for Lowkey W, I'd like to see them just expand out a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Trying to find his position. Of course, as you say, the Warden has been just a heavy pick for him. And even beyond that, I'm trying to think what he was on. I think maybe
Geist.
even was it Geist that he was on after it as well?
He's played a bunch of Geist as well. But yeah, I don't think... I trust in Trax saying that Blob is an amazing player and an amazing carrier, but we haven't seen it yet. I think our eyes have been mostly turned towards Cosmetical and Listic for the most part.
Fair. All right, well, of course, that is how it sits here for Lowkey W. Let's see if it can actually work on out. As you said, for Listic being one of those cornerstones, he's been playing a lot of silver to get things rolling. But let's take a look at Leviathan, because they have had, technically, 2 big changes, one would assume. Sai is in, of course, and we do believe Empty Dreams is not going to be there, right? And it will be Ocean's in.
It'll be OCs coming back in, which, by the way, is interesting because Leviathan, you talk about role swapping. Empty Dreams is going from playing, at times, Playmaker heroes to playing Pocket to then playing carries, where last week he was on Mirage. Now Empty Dreams is out and OCs is in, and OCs, of course, played more of the M1 heroes, would be the most likely to be in on the Mirage jail if being played. Now, OCs is interesting because, of course, OCs used to be on this team in the past, then left when Obakin left, and now is back in. And, OCs, when OCs was at his best, you have to go back to the Trolley tournament where OCs kind of became a household name and looked really, really good on Ivy, who was just like the ultimate carry at the time. And they later kind of branched out, became really good at Mina. But I do wonder like what OCs is going to play now in the specific meta. to me, it feels like Leviathan would maybe go out of their way to, get Mirage earlier, put OCs on that. But, barring that, it could just be either Mirage or Mina right now.
What do you make of the changes, Jason?
Well, so, I went over to edl.gg to actually learn about what's happened, as I believe Goopy Noopy was the one to write this little article up with some information talking about how Bobby was benched for Psy last week, but Leviathan also lost their coach of Xenon, which we've seen him play, for months and months and months now. Obviously not as in recent times. But when talking about OCs, I think it's weird to have him and Obi Kim leave, but then OCs to come back. And OC's comment on this was that he's more motivated than ever, and he's not going to miss the chance. I rely on my new coach and myself, and I will give it my best. So I'm interested to see how OCs does, because it definitely hasn't been the OCs meta ever since we did lose Ivy as more of a gun hero. OC's like fantastic gamer. He surprised the hell out of us. I think it was in the one win bombshell number 6 that we were casting the ZP of just a guy we've never heard before having ridiculous aim. But again, for him, I don't think the meta really fares well towards those late game carries. I think it's more about the mid game brawling spirit heroes. But I want to see what he can do within this team, and more importantly, with his second opportunity with this roster.
Yeah, and also I think these teams have been close enough that if it does work out to be an upgrade where, Leviathan has just kind of looked at everything and be like, okay, for the role we want to play here, we want OCs to actually running this instead of Empty Dreams. I mean, it's going to be a good game. Like, I think Lowkey W and Leviathan, their matchups in the challenging match have probably been the most entertaining of EU for a while. I mean, not that Abrahams hasn't been tested here and there, but, Abrahams has been firmly ahead in the money match, and it's been, the challenging match where we've had a little bit more drama and back and forth in recent memory.
And here is that head-to-head, as you say, with, either team has been making slight adjustments here and there, right? Be it the captain coming in for that kind of sub for Lowkey W, and him having pretty decent success, I would think, with the Venator play that he was going for, and then obviously not really fully paying off when you're going up against things like Abrahams. But now, once again, we'll see if Leviathan can continue what is the last recent streak, I suppose, or the last wins against Lowkey W here, Jason. But with the changes, I don't know. I think it could maybe go to Lowkey W again.
I think Leviathan, they were so used to being number 2 in EU for such a long time that it was really a big wake-up call once they started losing to Lowkey W. Because honestly, Fearless Furies couldn't really contend against them. I don't think Fearless Furies ever took a map off of Leviathan, and then Fearless Furies disbanded. I think Leviathan were focused always on Abrahams and how he can beat them. And then this new challenger comes out of nowhere, and they're like, what the they need to wake up. And I think that was the change that happened with OCs coming out and all those swaps and well. But if I'm talking about who's been improving the most and most consistently, I got to put money on Lowkey W. Though if you guys are betting the house on it, don't come back to me if they lose. Okay, but I think Lowkey W have been improving so much more than their opponents every single week.
Blame Jason. CP? Always blame Jason. Doesn't matter like what the context is. Just blame Jason. It's approved.
Bruh, I've done it for 15 years, right? I've blamed it for that long at this point.
Well, chill, okay? What happened in those offices, stay in those offices, okay?
It was a good time. It was a good time. Okay, but yes, we're just getting ready for the 1v1, which I'm sure will go down in just a few moments' time. I think you're right. I like the progression from what Lowkey W has done so far with it. I just think the problem is always in Europe. You're going up against the measuring stick that is Abrahams, and when you're making changes here and there, I think you can cannibalize some of Fearless Furies and maybe make that work here as Leviathan. We'll see if that does come to fruition, but you got to get past Lowkey W first for the Mo and Krill 1v1 ZP.
Oh, we're back to Mo and Krill.
They're back. That's right. We the new heroes. It's week number 2 of the new heroes, and we finally decided we got to give Mo and Krill fans a little bit of love because he's not getting picked in the games. So at least we can do is have him fight in the sewer.
I just like watching. I don't like casting these. I just like looking.
I know you like.
That sounds really weird and gross, but I swear it's meant to be completely PG in chat. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Really synced up and
we're in the sewers. We're not even in the gutters anymore. We're even further down than the gutters. But that is going to be, I think that was Rayik winning that one. So Leviathan will have choice of first pick or second, if I'm not mistaken. Cosmetic will let his team down, but it's not going to matter much, honestly. I think the way we've been seeing the pick bans go through, I don't really know who I even favor anymore of having first pick or not.
Changes week to week. What I'm curious on, though, is it's still seen as Celeste being the number 1 pick overall. Because if that's the case, then for Leviathan, you won't ban Celeste here, and you will let Lowkey W ban it. Otherwise, you will pick it. But instead, okay, we just open with the Drifter ban.
That's amazing. Even though I kind of want to see more realistic on Drifter, but that's an insane ban to start things off. Wow.
It's also, it's like, I think it wins both for them because we obviously see Listic wanting to go towards Silver, wanting to go towards Drifter. But the fact is, you're also leaving open a lot of heroes by doing like a throwaway ban like this, right? You are targeting a certain player in particular, but you're not also, you're opening and leaving up so many strong heroes that you can choose from.
Does a circus come to town? Is it going to be Celeste? And it's Abrams. So, okay, frontline is still heavily valued. And it's, in this case, going to be Abrams once more. But this gives up a lot of power for Lowkey W to snatch up with the next 2 picks.
What did we see last week? I can't remember the doubles. Shiv. And he always came with, who was he coming with?
I don't know what Shiv's into. You know, Shiv Billy.
Yes, that was a nice move, but sometimes Billy last week was going through drafts completely untouched, not even in bans, but he's coming along next time. The Lowkey W.
You know, I'm gonna throw an idea out here for you, ZP, because on my stream today I was talking about Cosmetical on Shiv pulling off like 4 kills in a row based off basically Killing Blow. And I think everyone keeps talking about how Shiv's overpowered, and one thing that's really never changed about his kit, I think over time, has been Killing Blow having reset at max rank. Now for me, one change I would love to see the Shiv, and I'm curious to hear your 2 thoughts about it while we do have some picks coming through, is put his Killing Blow, once you use it, even if you get a kill, you have like a 5 or 10 second window only to use it again. So you don't always have it up. Because the idea of a big team fight is you come out with no ultimates, right? And then that's your punishment of fighting, whether you win or lose. The fact that he always has his ultimate up makes him very impactful. Quick thoughts before we do go talk to more picks though?
Yeah, no, I think that'd be one way of toning down Shiv for sure in terms of Killing Blow. The other thing to do is that you could just give Killing Blow less range. Like the way Axe's bounce in Dota is that he just doesn't have huge range. What the world?
What's happening?
Mo and Krill gets picked?
Can we roll it back to Mo and Krill 1v1? ZP's like, well, we got to see him somewhere because he doesn't get picked.
Well, yeah, he hasn't been picked for like multiple weeks, and he's suddenly back.
Wild.
Where, by the way, Paradox and Holiday and Bebop all still available, by the way, and also the ban on Page, Lowkey W 100%, I think, taking Rem out of the bans here, like for their first pick out of the mid-stage bans, rather.
Yeah. What's interesting about Leviathan's picks overall is that is exactly what Abrams went for in the last game of last week. They went in from Abrams into Venator into Mirage. So this is looking very spicy for them. It's a strong pick. And okay, right, we're taking away the Great Talon, are we?
Yeah, Great Talon's so weird to me. Where's Celeste? That's also a good question. Why are we not seeing her being played here, ZP?
You're looking to summon a god, right?
I've had some theories about that, but go on, ZP. Lash is in now as well.
Okay, you ban Page, and then you don't take Rem, and now you leave it open for Leviathan, where also Celeste is open. And by the way, also, like, Leviathan kind of cornered the market on really good M1 characters between Mirage and Venator on top of it. Okay, they go Paradox. Paradox at 4th is, like, ridiculous value.
Where's the Rem?
Yeah, you would think Rem would come in here, or, well, mostly I think Rem now that Page is off the board, but we'll see.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, Lowkey might go Ivy off the back of that if it does come along. Oh, but they choose the Ivy. Okay. I mean, Rem is a very different support compared to someone like Ivy. Maybe they just don't feel like it's really their hero, even though it kind of sometimes plays itself a little bit.
Are we seeing OC's gun Ivy again? No, hell no. I really hope not. I hope he's going to be going to Mirage, which Mirage has had a crazy uptick in the last weeks as well. Definitely becoming one of the strongest M1 heroes late game. With Ricochet, Toxic Bullets, and Inhibitor, he's so hard to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, the reason for that is that Gun kind of got hit globally and the items got hit, but Mirage, like, he's not all Gun. He also has a lot of Spirit contribution. So, like, Mirage got out the least hit in that entire, like, round of changes. But, okay, Apollo comes in, and if Celeste doesn't get picked up by Leviathan right now, this will be the first game that Celeste is not banned, not picked.
I had a theory about Celeste. I think pro players can eventually play against it pretty well. I mean, of course, yeah, Shining Wonder bouncing around everything. Technically, if you take it away, Sinclair, so no Celeste at all. I think technically, people have sort of, especially at this level, figured out that there are some ways to deal with it a little bit better. I mean, admittedly, Shining Wonder does technically eliminate one person from a fight if you want to take it away from the fight and stuff like that, and then that makes your team fight easier. But still, no pick, no ban, Jason, from the Celeste.
I'm happy, I'm sad, but I'm also just happy to see Sinclair come back into the mix. I feel like there's been so many heroes introduced that have so good ultimates to steal away that Sinclair's stock should be going way up. But I think you're kind of right about Celeste. I think I'm curious to see if she's been fully figured out now or maybe teams just started to stray away from her, expecting bans to come through, so you don't practice her as much. But the Sinclair into this team, I mean, you have most likely it should be a Majestic Leap picked up for Sinclair. I think we've seen most Sinclairs in the last few weeks pick that up because it enables you to get a Lash ultimate off as a pseudo Lash. You're gonna have combo to steal. You're gonna have chain gang to steal. You're gonna have last stand to steal. You're gonna have killing blow to steal, and whatever the hell Apollo's ult's name is, because there's no way I can say the hero, no Sani or something like that. There's a lot of choices for Sinclair, and you know, I got asked in my stream today, who do I think is the most underrated hero? And Sinclair was someone in chat was talking about, and I didn't really, you know, give it too much credit, but maybe it actually is one of the most underrated heroes right now with how strong some of these ultimates are of the meta heroes at the moment.
I think Overseas was making Sinclair look awesome last week at ZP, even though they didn't end up winning that game against Lowkey W. I think like if they had won that game, I was gonna say Overseas on the Sinclair looks fantastic, but yeah.
Well, I think the issue with Sinclair is that his late game gets a little bit sketchy. His early game, you cannot argue with. He is one of the biggest lane bullies in the game, even to this very day. His power spikes, like, up to a point. You have a point in the mid game where if Sinclair's gone ahead that he's just straight up almost one-shotting you, and if he doesn't do it the first volley, he's going to do it on the next charge. So Sinclair is good up until that point, and he also is, like, conditionally good based on what the other team is playing, where I actually think in terms of ultimates, being able to copy Etani Losan from Apollo is massive. That ult sucks to get hit by, and Sinclair can do it twice as often as Apollo. So yeah, I mean, I think Sinclair has probably been undervalued, but his value also I think has gone up with some of the new ult steals that are available now as well.
Do you think that's a balanced kit though, Colaris? The fact that your effectiveness is ultimately dependent on the ultimates of the opposing team, is that a good balance of a hero, do you think, in your opinion? Because I think he's like the only character in the game that is the power is dependent on the opposing team.
I mean, it's a very Valve thing, right? It existed in Dota 2 to be able to just kind of steal away ults and then use them against their opponents. And I mean, if you've got a lower cooldown than them, it doesn't matter what your opponents are picking as long as you're able to kind of launch it in there, do it. I mean, Overseas just being able to steal, I don't know, going like Majestic Leap, stealing the Warden ult, going in as deep as he wants to against some of the Lowkey W teams again as well. I think that he's made it look good in the past, and I think he could make it look good again. I think it's fine. I like the idea of it. I think a game like this, from Valve's perspective, can always have that in.
Do we have a while till game starts? Because I have another topic I want to bring up that I think is very interesting.
A true
I'm assuming we have time, because if we don't have time, we'll cut it. But we have a minute. Okay, so one thing I find interesting is, will we ever reach a point in Deadlock where the original heroes have their kits revamped? Because I got asked again about Haze today, and I felt like Haze, I got asked like, why we're not seeing Haze? In my opinion, you're not seeing Haze because her kit isn't strong enough to deal with all these new heroes. Like, she has no interesting mechanics.
So deep.
Exactly. You have a transform with Silver. You have like a right post and same movement with Apollo. You have crazy movement with Celeste, but you also have the ability to like silence someone and get in deep. There's all these heroes being introduced with these new mechanics that when you look back at the original heroes in the game, their kits fall apart and they kind of get pushed by the wayside. And I wonder if we'll ever see a revamp of like Haze's kit, for instance.
Oh, look, I wouldn't even start with Haze. Like, I'm going to start with lower hanging fruit than that, and that, dear God, help Wraith. Like, you have all these new heroes that have come out with really, really strong ultimates and really good kits on top of it. Or you look at, like, what a single cast of Shining Wonder can do, or Iro Domini, and then you go back to Wraith and you go, here's Telekinesis that got, like, absolutely beaten into oblivion with, like, 12 nerfs in a row back in 2025. It went from incredible, like, it just held people in place, you could headshot, you could do everything, and then you wobbled, and now eventually, like, it slowly goes after you and you'll just like run away for 2 seconds. Like that ult needs some help. Pure and simple.
Well, we'll get to see some of those new kits in play and some of the old ones as well as we get into our first game, Leviathan versus Lowkey W. It's a best of one to determine who goes up against Abrahams.
Jason, we're heading into it. We're gonna get an idea of what the lanes are gonna look like, but I'm still kind of reeling at the idea that, you know, for Lowkey W, they could have just grabbed Paradox in place of this Mo, and instead they go, no. Give us Mo and Krill. It's time.
I mean, it's one of the sickest skins we have in the game too, so I'm all for it. But what's also interesting is the Cars was talking about Overseas and his Sinclair play last week. It's not going to be Overseas on Sinclair. It's going to be Irazumi instead. So Overseas is going to be on the Venator, which, as you said before, I think being pick banned almost, if not every single game in the last week of play. So we'll see how Irazumi is going to, you know, pick up the shoes of Sinclair over Overseas.
Also, we probably should have expected this, given the fact that, you know, even back in the Buffenjors era, he was kind of, oh, new hero came out, I suppose I'll play it. But Listic, you know, another week of Apollo practice, seemingly being to his credit, now coming in here as Apollo, and we'll see if Listic is able to make this work. I haven't been able to catch Listic streams recently, but I assume that this has been workshopped at least the better part of the week.
All right, better be. He's no AVG. He doesn't just pull this out for subs, like we had happen with Billy when he was released. But yeah, I mean, having Apollo and Lash in the same lane. I mean, one thing we've been seeing a ton of is just these early rotations and interacting with these other lanes. But already off the get-go, seeing a death happen on this left-hand side here in favor of Leviathan. You're going to see some early pressure onto this tower. And we also do see, I mean, I don't remember who even died. Who's that coming back? It's actually Cosmetical, which is honestly the person they kind of depended on to having that like mid-game power, heavily investing into killing blow right away. What a charge.
Quick charge comes in. The actual damage at the end, not as bad as it could have been for Sherrick. But yeah, wait, look at the left lane. I mean, that doesn't feel like the greatest lane. Like Mo Shiv, it's going to be somewhat durable at the beginning, but then Ivy is actually going to be able to apply a lot of pressure in that lane, as we see. And if you want Roam, you'd probably want Roam to go over there sooner rather than later, which may be the case when you look at where Lowkey W is. Does Listic take a bite at the apple here early on the left-hand side? Doesn't seem to be the case, but it's flirting with the idea.
I mean, to be fair, Listic to me is probably similar to Claris. Doesn't eat fruit, doesn't eat veggies. Just rice and chicken.
That is true.
Every day. I've never seen Claris in my 14 years of knowing him eat a vegetable.
I just love how you took an offhand comment and turned it into strays. Not even strays; those were directs.
I get to work with James often, I usually I technically do get to work with him actually, or I used to work with him on another game, but not not in Deadlock. And Listic already starting things off strong here with a nice kill into Rayake. And I think Listic in particular is not a player you want to get going. I think he's definitely a momentum player. And when he gets, I mean, thinking back to, I think it was like VP at the time, his Calico absolutely slaughtered teams when he got early starts. His Yamato does a very similar thing. And I think Apollo kind of fits right up that alley for him of just being able to take early game pressure and kills that you get to snowball into a victory.
I would actually be Mr. Controversial there and say that when you looked at the performances, I mean, part of it was probably how Buff Enjoyers played with the hero when Listic was on it, but I never loved Listic's Yamato because it was more of a battle Yamato and not a get farmed and take over the game Yamato. But other than that, I mean, other heroes for Listic, whether it be Abrams or especially Calico, and Calico was good. I mean, Listic was really good about riding the line about being aggressive and getting the most out of the hero, where you stop and think about it, that's kind of Apollo's entire bread and butter is how aggressive can you be without dying by using tools like disengaging, sigil, into riposte.
I love this comment in chat from Wishu. Apollo's British, Listic is Scottish. There might be some inherent synergy. Good point. Good point. We'll see how it's going to play out here, Cotton, as the game is going to continue on forward. And already the pressure on the Leviathan left-hand side is going to continue. Not normally, seeing kills happen early on, but you can see how much pressure that Trax is already under with this Mo and Krill. And it's been forever since we've seen Mo and Krill here, ZP. And the typical style we saw to Mo and Krill was very support, very low eco. And if you don't make that impact in the early to mid game, Mo will fall off for sure with the way of a low eco build. But if you don't make that early impact, then your team kind of falls apart as well.
I don't think Mo is necessarily being set up for success with the Shiv lane partner versus what they're up against either. I mean, this is a tough lane. It is purely objective survive. It's not a lane that you should be getting kills on either Psy or overseas at this point, at least until combo comes into play. Once combo comes into play and you get killing blow and you get a little bit of help from another lane, anything can happen. Like, I actually, in terms of rotations, I think it would be pretty good for Lowkey W, where once combo's online, that's where you go on comms and say, Listic, hey, come over here, give us a little bit of help, as Mo is in some real danger right now and just down. Again, a really dangerous lane, Jason.
Speaking of help, I mean, he's the one that needs it here. Gets a gut shot back into the wall with the melee charge out of Venator, getting the extra mobility that it does provide, as Listic has shown up on this left-hand side to help alleviate this pressure. And this always goes back to a time and tested question in Deadlock. If your lane's losing, should you go help them, or should you invest your time in the neutral or winning lanes? And we're seeing here there is that investment being thrown into the side, though I don't necessarily, I mean, I guess because you want Cosmetical to have a strong game. That's, I think, my intention of the way he's rotating around, because obviously, like Blob and Shark, we haven't looked at the right side. There's really been no action other than that first charge we saw very early on.
Yeah, and also to answer your question, Jason, I feel like the question is, how bad are you losing? There's acceptable levels of loss and unacceptable levels of loss. And, the way left lane is right now, it's kind of closer to the latter. So it's something you're going to have to keep an eye on. But I do expect Listic to be rotating over there a little bit more aggressively just once combo comes online. But take a look at the right-hand side.
Like guaranteed kills too, right? Because of the combo will facilitate a very easy kill with the Shiv and with the Apollo coming through.
Well, speaking of Apollo, rotating over the right-hand side, Listic able to take down Arizumi without a whole lot of trouble there. So it's just full roam Listic right now. Flawless advance, a little bit of extra damage on the free mock, and yeah, I mean, for now, it seems like Listic is playing Apollo, yes, in mid lane, but just very aggressive roaming to both sides as see a Death Slam attempt going nowhere in mid.
Sorry, you must have been watching my stream. That's one of my death slams, to be honest. But Listic has come back into the part. The flawless advance going to be canceled out by the tornado, but it doesn't seem to matter as Rake will still fall once again. A lot of these kills, most of the kills so far, as we're at 6.5 minutes in, have gone the way of Lowkey W, though the souls don't reflect it, only being about 1k ahead. And Crazy Steve Lowell tipping $25 over any donation that you make with exclamation point donate goes directly into the prize pool to the players. We don't touch a cent of it. I promise. I swear on my heart, cross my heart, hope to die. And his comment was, seems good. And I agree.
Nothing to laugh about that either, even with the wall at the end of the name. But overall, looking at the state of the game, the one thing that's kind of interesting to me here, Jason, is that despite the roaming and missing out on some of the mid lane creeps, the time has been good enough for Listic, and the kill output enough that he's at 5.7k. He's the richest on Lowkey W at the moment.
That's what's so crazy, is that he has been roaming for most of this game. Every time we catch him, he's in another lane, but he's keeping his souls and he's keeping his advantage as well. So you see yet again a little skirmish happening on this right hand side. There's a chase coming into Iverzumi looking for the catch, and he's most certainly going to fall. Shark confirms that one. Another to add to the tally here for Lowkey W. And they did lose their Guardian. But that does now free up potentially Blob to just sit here and free farm in this lane and have, Shark get around the map and help rotate with more of these chain gang kills.
Looking back towards the middle from the perspective of Rayek right now, where mid Guardian really, really low. OC's able to get the last little bit of damage on the Listic, where we didn't really talk about too much, but to no one's surprise, OC's is on Mirage, where you pick a M1 carry earlier in the draft, you get OC's on your team. It all kind of checks out with what you would expect for that level of play. Also, Blob back on the Warden, but right now, Abrams a bit of danger. Binding Ward doesn't connect, but the damage more than enough between Sherrick and Blob to just walk him over.
Yeah, this is looking like Lowkey W just have the read. Initially, that first kill coming through, I thought Leviathan left lane would actually be quite strong, but his ultimates come online, the rotations have come through, the chain gang being used this time over onto Rayek. Not really doing too much damage to him, if I'm perfectly honest, but Blob has joined the party with the last stand coming through. A great hex comes through to actually prevent the chase, and a stolen last stand as well to follow up with your ZP. Looking like a good turnaround here for Leviathan, but Rayek has already gone down, now leaving Irizumi all to himself.
Yeah, things getting hectic and then some here on the right-hand side. People continue to rotate on in. Here's Zumi just able to walk to the left, find Sherrick. Of course, Listic now into the fight, looking for the chase down. OC's real low off the riposte. Easy finish for Listic, as we're now 1 minute away from first urn and second set of buffs.
I have to ask DP, because some people in chat were flaming me about this. Riposte or riposte?
Riposte.
Why riposte?
I've never heard anyone pronounce it riposte. Like, I've never heard a hard I.
You've never heard someone call it repost. Riposte.
No, not riposte. Yeah. You said riposte. Like, I've heard repost.
You've ever heard that before?
No.
I'm like, okay, you know what? We'll go back to it because Claris is chiming in about this. We do see Assassin Impact come through towards the backhand side behind Cosmetical. Freemock able to confirm the kill onto Trax. Maybe we can get a poll in chat and people can choose. Is it riposte or what? How did you say it?
Riposte.
Riposte. Is it repost? Claris, can you come in for that?
Riposte.
Riposte, yeah. See?
No, riposte. Like ZP saying it.
You know what? I can't trust an American and a Brit here. Let's bring in an Australian. Uber, where you at? You gotta confirm.
Well, they're just gonna say a 4-letter C word and just wonder, wait, why was I even brought in here to begin with? Like, you're not even gonna get them at all. Okay, we were expecting there, but we do have a clone chain gang, Billy versus Billy, and not really entirely gonna be fought through, but it's a short cooldown. So either way, Listic in control of the urn. Is Lowkey W going for a bit of an earn run? And now the question is, Jason, how does Leviathan respond? Do they go for Guardians, or do they actually go to contest this first earn? In EU especially, teams have very different approaches for dealing with first earn.
It's a very good point. I mean, it's only 3,000 souls, right? Obviously, you do get the 4 golden statue buffs for the person turning in, but I think map control would be a lot more effective for them. Push on this left-hand guard and get that one locked down, which it seems to be doing at the moment with Psy and Freemock, looking for a kill on Cosmetical while the minions finish this one off. and maybe a potential push onto mid for some Walker damage. But you do have to worry. There's like the adaptation of adaptations. Teams would let Urn go in to take objectives on the other side of the map, but then teams started saying, okay, if you're going to do that, we're going to take the people we grouped up where the Urn turn-in was and push a Walker down. And they have been faltered, have been pushed away from the right-hand side as they were looking for it. And chat's caught up to this. I got, oh man, Rye post. I got rip post. I got reposte. I got repost. I've got
we got a combo.
Riposte. Sorry, continue.
The combo far more important than the riposte riposte debate of our live situation that's going on here. No kill confirmed here just yet. The Fremont is running for his life. You see Lowkey W in on the chase down. Chirik gonna drop the chain gang. Then now in all sorts of danger. Overseas caught in the crossfire. Wasn't even the main target, but certainly one that Lowkey W will be happy to grab on the way out.
And one thing I'm seeing though for Leviathan, even though they're losing a lot of these deaths at the moment, they lost the Urn before, at least OCs is continuing to farm. He's at 11k, and obviously Blob is going to be slightly ahead of him. But I think one nice thing we're seeing for Leviathan is OCs is going to have some, I would say, some decent protection. I think Fremont is keeping his farm up, which he's going to need. Overseas has been doing that as well. And you still have Irizumi at 9.7k souls. So even though it is, you know, a 5k lead for Lowkey W, I don't want to say the game is decided whatsoever. I think OC's, he's that good of a player, and if he has that protection and you give him the time to farm, he can easily turn a game around.
Well, also, we didn't really go into this in the draft because I think we're a little bit mind blown at, you know, certain things happening like Celeste not even being picked or banned. But when you look at these teams and look at late game versus early game, Leviathan can kind of ride out the storm, so far as I'm concerned here, Jason. I mean, you have a Mirage who is the end game threat at the moment, but you have it backed up by an Abrams, a Ven, you know, a Paradox. I mean, like, yes, okay, you got Shiv Warden on the other side, but Warden in the ultra late game kind of tails off. I don't entirely know where the rate Apollo in the extreme end game, but we do know that Mo, of all heroes, especially on the playmaking side, probably is the harshest fall off into the end game. So I think for Leviathan, being a little bit behind here is fine because they have a much stronger win condition if this goes late, largely just by virtue of having Mirage on their team.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think there is going to be a mismatch when it comes to the M1 heroes when you get to the ultra late game. But I want to see how this is going to work out because I think Trax, even though he's only at 10k souls, he does have a lot of opportunities right now to make big plays happen for his team with those combos. I mean, you see it is off cooldown right now. He's over on the right-hand side. He might even catch out Irizumi here on the Sinclair if he's quick about it. That's going to be a stolen combo being taken away from Irizumi, who's now going to look for the attack, looking for a catch himself because he does have teammates to support this one. And there's going to be a Lash. He just doesn't have the way to close the gap and get that distance, though. He does have Majestic Leap picked up already.
Trade on both sides, but a much better trade for Leviathan. Trading Ivy for Warden, especially where Blob's actually getting the extended spawn timer here too. It's not late enough in the game that you can convert that into mid boss or anything like that, but you know, does create a little bit more pressure on the map for Leviathan.
Well, it looks like we do have a quick time to talk about another donation to the prize pool. I don't know Kroner. I don't know what country that's from because I'm used to it being like Swedish kroner. I don't know what kroner is, what country, but we have a 420.69 donation from Mats Noxeret, who says, Jason, wait, hold on. Jason, I am the voice of the people. Please cosplay Paige. Please, 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 please.
I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting I'm the voice of the people. You're wrong about your pronunciation of the boss.
I thought so as well.
That's where I thought that was going. Like, honestly, because, you know, whether intentional or not, that is like perhaps the finest rage bait you've ever put on this program. And I've seen you talk about patches hitting, you know?
Yeah. You know what? We can talk about it, Mox. It could happen one day. Halloween, I mean, it's going to happen every year. I was last time.
It's going to happen every... Well, you know, as if there's a question. You know, the council has decided no Halloween this year.
I think the question is, do I have to wear the skirt? Or do I get to wear the skirt? Depends on what day it is, you know?
Are you going to stand up on camera?
I mean, I'm going to wear like a... You know, like the mini skirts? We're going even shorter. I don't remember the name for them.
Micro skirts?
We're gonna get a micro skirt and you're gonna see my right posts if you know what I'm talking about. So we do see Fremont pick up a kill here as the Urn has been grabbed for Lowkey W. It's still gonna be a neutral turn in, but with that kill being had and the pressure of Leviathan's left hand side, there's no real clear way to go for the cap onto this. And again, look at the right hand side of the map. OCs continue to farm. Even Psy, I think, is proxying the wave So there's no, yeah, look at him on the middle of the map here on the mini map. There's no way for the wave to push against them. So they're going to have free, full, healthy minions to take down this mid lane Walker, setting his team up for success because they're trying to punish Lowkey W for going the turn in.
Take a look at tracks right now. Might have been off a little bit more than a chew. Not going to get hit by that Vexing Bolt towards the very end. Had the opportunity to go for Ivy, does not connect onto the combo, just a little bit off. Bit of an awkward fight here, and we do have the Traveler coming in for OC, so it's full strength for Leviathan, but Lowkey W hadn't committed on the Urn yet, so a little bit of a pain there. Instead of OC's being able to stay on right-hand side for a little bit longer, teleports in when he thinks the time is right, and Urn still very much in question.
And the proxy at the side net them almost 50% of damage on that mid lane Walker, which is quite insane. As now the Rabbit Hex going to be coming through. The stolen Death Slam going to connect onto one. It's going to be Billy. Throws him back in away from the team so they can go for this Urn turn-in. Now Arzumi's trying to pick it up. Cosmetical's right to the side. Continues to punch him. Gets comboed as well. The Magician is going to just disappear just like that. And now we're going to see the potential pickup out of Trax to go for the turn-in himself. Trying to run across the map here. There still is a formidable force that Leviathan defend against us, but they're down so many ultimates here, ZP, that realistically, I don't know if they can go for it.
I wonder if there's any traps in and around, and nope, no traps, no problem for Trax. Just able to hop on in, get the Urn turn in, and Fremont, in the realm of contesting, just gets crunched for it. I mean, look, you get the melee interrupting there. You didn't exactly have a lot of backup. Now, while this is going on, Lowkey W is also pushing on the right-hand lane and nearly has this Walker down. I think you're Blob, you just go for it. Yeah, you might die, but you get the Walker in turn. But this is the might die part here, Jason. And the Rabbit Hex actually just barely misses, but the Carbine certainly going to seal his fate with a little bit of help from Sinclair at the end.
What's important though, Blob, he's sitting on 8,000 souls. And he didn't have any of it as unsecured too. So there's really nothing you're stealing away from him. Yeah, he's going to be dead for a little bit of time, but this is going to be a massive pickup for him. I would assume going towards that glass cannon here momentarily. And, you know, we're hitting that point where, again, like 10,000 souls isn't that big of a difference. You talked about before with Leviathan, they can just kind of hold on and wait, and they're going to eventually overpower Lowkey W the longer this game goes on. As we take a look at some of these items, Blob has still yet to buy here. There we go. He actually goes for a metal skin, so he's actually playing safe here. Hollow point metal skin being picked up. I think there was an active reload as well, if I'm not mistaken. So instead of going for that heavy investment right now, he's going for that survivability, which I guess they're gonna kind of beat now.
I've seen this interaction a lot, both on stream and even in my own games, where particularly when you're in the Warden v Ven matchup, Ven actually feels pretty bad, especially if you've already opened with your Domini, if a Warden simply runs at you, holds down left click, and has metal skin up. Like, does not feel good. So Warden's ability to just kind of run at you with metal skin actually is pretty effective. So even as a more defensive option, I think for Blob, it makes a lot of sense, especially given what you're up against in this game.
Well, we're about to hit the 20-minute mark momentarily. The mid-boss has started to become a very real possibility of these teams depending on how these fights go. And obviously, Urn, I think, is the next point of contention here, ZP. I think, honestly, Urn can be the thing to kick off a win for either of these two teams. If you're Lowkey W, a quick, easy turn-in, maybe with a couple kills, you're looking at a mid-boss, and you're looking at two walkers that are looking mighty tasty. And also, we kind of missed it here, but Chrisana 14 again. Every week, Chrisana shows up. A $25 donation to the prize pool saying, if 10% of the people watching donated $5, we can get these players paid. Support your players. And we want to get these players played. They're here every week to bring you all this amazing action. Really try to push the limits when it comes to Deadlock and really be at the forefront when Deadlock goes open beta.
Right now, we got 20 seconds till next set of buffs come up. Lowkey W looking to be focused on the left-hand side, but so is Leviathan, but not quite as much. You got 3 in left, 2 in mid, and then just pushing Walker on right. 5 seconds till buff, and the right buff is going to be relatively neglected as Lowkey W gets left buff for free.
I mean, they're pushing right and mid at the same time, and there's no response out of Lowkey W. They're sitting there trying to make sure they get the buff on the left-hand side. They get some easy damage onto the mid lane Walker, easily rotating out to the right-hand side, and they secure the survival buff. So they're going to have at least one Walker for themselves. I think for Lowkey W, it's about how are you going to respond, and that response is going to come down to a push on middle.
I gotta say, in terms of trade value, getting a buff and just earn control, not even earn turn-in, for Walker is a pretty lousy trade. It's not a macro win by any stretch of imagination.
Sorry, continue. I just watched. It's so frustrating being Sinclair not being able to close that gap there because you have no warp stone.
He's just like, well, I have compo. It's like, well, you're not quite close enough. Left-hand side, though, Wait, this is just going to be another walker heading the way of Leviathan. So, I mean, Leviathan on a macro level, especially if Mirage gets away, which he does, the Traveler at the very end completely clears him. I mean, okay, you've lost 2 walkers now. Maybe the earn turn is free, but surely this wasn't worth it, Jason.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with Lowkey W as a team that I've noticed over the last weeks, is that their macro is a little bit lacking. They do struggle to make the right decisions at the right times against some teams, and they get taken advantage of that. And I think we're seeing Leviathan use that weakness in macro, I would say, to take some big advantages here. Because again, 7k difference, but they have 2 walkers already taken. Obviously, the mid walker going to be the most important one. But I think they've been really countering the way Lowkey W have been playing quite well.
And again, for Leviathan, what's the rush? Like, overall, they can be a little bit calm here. What's going on? Tracks right now, a little bit deep in enemy territory. Combo course up, and it's OCs right now. Getting chased on all angles. Has to use Tornado a little bit early. Makes it successfully to the walker, but still very much in danger of getting dove here. Rotation, though, coming in from the rest of Leviathan. A little bit of support there. Combo, though, towards the very end, and OC is not able to get out or get enough clearance. So the chase down on the OCs works, and it's a long spawn timer, Jason.
Yeah, very long. And I mean, there will be a rotation through the teleporter of overseas, but the walker has been taken. Maybe some more off the back of that Freak Mock. I don't want to call him Freak Mock. Going to be pulled back in with the chain gang here. Now Arizumi off to the side. He has stone ult, but not sure exactly what it's going to be, as Rake's going to be knocked out of the sky with a knockdown. But here comes Cosmetical once again with those resets on Killing Blow. And Arizumi did steal the last stand, but Shark's going to put him into jail and put him in timeout as the chase is going to continue to happen. And Lowkey W, if they can pick up another kill, there's definitely a good chance of mid-boss being taken. The Killing Blow is going to be used, and overseas falls once again. Cosmetical showing off this patented Shiv. You know, some might even say he's the EU Ido when it comes to Shiv.
All right, now, not being the allegations in a good way, final Killing Blow comes out, and with that fight being staggered towards the end, this gives enough of a room, not only to have classic EU pause lock, but you look at where Lowkey W is at. You got 4 still alive. Leviathan, you're going to be down the Ven and the Paradox for quite a while. There's more than enough time here, Jason, to simply slam this into mid-boss.
Yeah, I mean, do they want to go for it? They're really going to full send it on in. OC is getting really close to picking up Silencer too. He already has the Ricochet picked up Toxic Bullets, and Silencer can go ham here against this team. But as the mid boss is going to roar, you're going to see on the minimap that rotations will be coming through, and there we go. OC is going to be coming in from the left-hand side from the right. They don't have really that many ultimates to do anything about this, but they need Arizumi here. The mid boss is taking a little bit of extra time here, so the Rabbit Hex could come in massive if Arizumi could get in position.
Sinclair gets down and immediately gets comboed. Combo gonna put an end to the Rabbit Hex aspirations. Lowkey W, 2 rejuve charges. Free Mock got into the fray, gets 1. And now we look at OCs in real danger, gang chased down. That rejuve charge immediately gonna be used here on the OCs as both teams now skirmishing in the middle. All rejuve charges are gone, Jason. Now who's gonna stand ahead of the Ashes? May not be Cosmetical. Super low towards the end of the fight. Still somehow alive, but not for long. Free Mock able to find the punish on the end. So Lowkey W, while ahead overall in the game, Leviathan able to come in and fight relatively evenly.
Bro, evenly. I'd say they won that fight. Okay, well, hold on. OCs has fallen. I would have said they actually won that fight because they don't allow Lowkey W to come out with that with all 3 rejuves. They stole one away and they neutralized it, taking away the 2 rejuves they had, losing the 1, and they trade 2 for 2 apiece. I think that's a massive Lowkey win for Leviathan here, to be perfectly honest with you, and especially if they continue more off the back of this, but they're going to be getting caught out now. Free Mock's going to fall ballistic, and that advantage they got from contesting that mid-boss, I think, has just fallen.
It's getting worse too. Atani Losan comes on in. Listic cuts down Rake where he stands, and that is a full team wipe. Leviathan completely wiped off the board. Final Walker gonna be taken now for Lowkey W, where, you know, it wasn't the cleanest sequence of events, but you look at the aftermath here, Jason. All Walkers down and a 30k soul lead. Good time to be Lowkey W.
And the greater expansion, you can just see the distance Listic covers with that ultimate too. And while we do have a quick moment, we had a couple of donations come through while the madness was breaking out. You have You'll Nasty tipping 20 bucks into the prize pool, says I love Deadlock. You got Tuss TV tipping 5 bucks into the prize pool. And you know what, Colaris, I think you might have to say this one because I just feel all kinds of wrong saying it. From Viper.
Colaris is super hot, full homo.
Yeah, 20 bucks coming through. Hey, you know what, Colaris, if your pretty face can get us money to the players, we'll have you on the show every week.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah.
I just love how the soul just got drained out of Colaris's body as he had to read that. He's just like, oh my god,
like, what again? Someone thinks I'm really hot. Ugh.
One thing I will note, by the way, that we haven't really talked about for Apollo, people generally look at a hero like Shiv and go, wow, when Shiv is ahead, Shiv is really hard to deal with. I think the nature of Apollo's kit also makes Apollo excruciatingly difficult to deal with if he ever gets a lead, in the way that, you know, Listic is, you know, overall, I mean, Lowkey W is just ahead of the game in general. Like, Listic isn't naturally way ahead of the rest of Lowkey W, but relative to the average farm on Leviathan, there's not a lot of great options to take down an Apollo right now. Like, it's an incredibly frustrating character to deal with when the other team is ahead. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's a win more, but when you're ahead, it's pretty good at securing your lead.
I think Listic is definitely one of those exceptional players when it comes to playing from ahead too. I think he knows his limits quite well. Thinking back to his silver play, definitely a hero you can get quite far ahead on if you play it well in the beginning. But with this urn, looking to be turned in here, you can see the combo has been used, and well, a little bit of a misstep when it comes to movement here out of Listic, but it has been able to force them back. Tiny Losan once again catching out two. That's going to be Ivy and Mirage taken out of this equation. And Mirage is the big one. OCs needs to stay alive here. They need his kills. And Fremok's going to go down. They did trade one at least onto Shark, and Tracks both falling. And now Listic's being dealt with in the back line here. You can see the Jin's Mark, the Tox Bullets, everything, even the silencer on top of this. That Jin's Mark is going to pop here in a second, and it might actually just kill Listic.
The problem is you're chasing Listic and you got absolute weapon of mass destruction in the back. It's Cosmetical on the ship. 2 killing blows already. 3, a 4th kill coming on in. And yeah, you chase down Listic and get the kill, but the rest of Lowkey W more than up to the task of not only finishing out the team fight, but getting the urn. The lead is going to extend now, Jason. And you know, for Leviathan, you know, we kind of set the stage that they were okay going the late game. Let's go in the late game when the game is relatively even, not being down nearly 50,000 souls. There is a limit to what you can gain out of hero composition with a hero like Mirage.
But like, credit to Leviathan though, ZP. I still think that's not necessarily like a horrible trade for them getting those kills to come through, because they did take down 3 for losing 6. I mean, obviously they lost Urn, but you know, the comeback souls are very important, and they're also still showing that Lowkey W can't just run over Leviathan. You still have to respect them, as you saw with Listic going in very deep towards the back.
Yeah, I mean, particularly with combo being an ability in the game is the kind of the great equalizer of trying to ego another team and be like, what can they do? Kill me? It's like, well, okay, you have Mo and Krill. Like, the answer is absolutely yes. It's difficult to use your active items, to use whatever evasive abilities you have in that case. But also, he doesn't know the tech. Blob does not realize if you stand the right spot. Oh, he does know the tech. Never mind. He's not doing it effectively, but you can hit all 3 tier 3 camps with 1 heavy melee if you stand in the right spot, even in that area of the map.
I think we take Blob aside here, ZP. You need to teach this man how to play Warden. I think you have more games on Warden than anyone I know, and probably anyone in the game. You probably have more games on Warden than Bananas only has on Bebop.
Absolutely not. Bananas only has never stopped queuing Bebop, and it's probably like 8,000 games nowadays. Also
4K. Like, when I saw it one time, I was like, what?
More of a Venator guy nowadays here, Jason. I mean, sometimes you just get the urge to shout Latin and shoot Rem with a crossbow 3 times in a row. And that he may be dead after the first 2, but you have to go full COD and shoot the body after.
Just, you have to triple tap him for sure.
Yes.
We do have a donation into the prize pool from the Post Lamp. No bounty for an upset today, but still got to support the players with $5. And another one from Schmorf. I feel like I'm on a Rick and Morty episode right now, tipping $50. Says, I require melee Ivy gameplay one day. Well, you know what? You can just donate $50 to the prize pool every week until you see Ivy played as melee. That'd be nice.
Unstoppable into a death slam for Lowkey W as they look to put this one away. Cosmetical on the follow through. Ray Ake down. Both teams getting to on the right-hand side. Combo is out. Overseas the target, but Overseas looking absolutely durable for at least a small amount, but eventually goes on down. Cosmetical over and in as Leviathan down 3 now. And I mean, look, if you're Leviathan, you kind of have to go for attempts to make something happen, but the odds of it working out in your favor just not great at this point. It's at the point in the game where the stat difference between the two teams is just way too high.
Yeah, 50k is just tough. I think you have to hope for a misplay of Lowkey W, which might be it. Blob gets stunned up on the launch pad, taking a lot of damage here, but again, it's still Warden. Last stand being used as well, and pops some metal skin, so you can prevent a lot of the damage coming his way to turn this one around on a free mock. And you might say out there that's a waste of a last stand, but honestly, if you get this kill on a free mock, he hasn't used the seismic impact. You pretty much prevent any sort of steal from happening on this mid boss. Looks like he will escape from this one, though. I think it's Cosmetical on the chase. He actually, nah, he's not going to escape, right? Cosmetical? Nah, he's not going to hit his knives.
How many golden statues has Cosmetical got in this game? I mean, it is a very heavy green build, but your eyes just kind of bug out of your head when you look at a Shiv and go, yeah, that's 5,000 HP. That 5,000 HP before accounting for any effective bloodletting, I might add.
Yeah. It's a bit of a tanky boy, for sure. He's also at 39,000 souls and on a kill streak, too. I mean, if you look on the other side, with 32 for OCs, he's up against a 39k Shiv and a 43k Warden. Yeah, something majorly wrong needs to happen out of Lowkey W for Leviathan to have a solid chance into this one, and it's really going to revolve around OCs and Irizumi, I would say, by trying to create space with Rabbit Hexes or maybe even like a stolen Death Slam to give him the space to come online with the Ricochet Silencer.
Definitely going to be easier said than done. Sai, a little bit of flying around, but the airdrop, nothing but a nuisance at this point at best. Lowkey W, they firmly hit the stage of the game here, Jason, where they could hold W at Leviathan and just win the team fight. I mean, for Leviathan, you need things to go well exceptionally before the fight begins, and that does not appear to be the case. Death Slam in over the top, and no targets to be had here from Vrake. Support going well. Ground Slam, though, towards the back end side. Vrake, the target down at half, as Leviathan try and just get the full disengage.
Credit to them. That was actually pretty damn impressive. Getting out of range of this Death Slam. They might be able to turn this one around onto Listic. It's extremely low. The Earth Dominate comes through, and they do get the kill on two of them. He's going to be dead for 70 seconds of time. Remember, mid-boss is in play, so the Leviathan can retreat, maybe get one more kill. There's a real world. They can turn this one around, but there we go. As Cosmetical going back in with the Warp Stone, and actually gets counterspelled out of the killing blow, so that's on cooldown. This is not a bad fight for Leviathan here.
Leviathan, given the stat difference, this is about as well as you could play that. And Lowkey W, I mean, the only reason why they lose Listic is that Listic, maybe a little bit too much faith in the abilities on Apollo, where you go, oh, it's a Venator, Abrams. I'm going to chase that in the close quarters. I'm Apollo. What's the worst that could happen? Says man immediately in spawn,
And you know what? I was watching back last week's games, and seeing Together build Echo Shard with Phantom Strike on Abrams was just disgusting. Phantom striking into a charge, Echo Shard charge again. Anyone dies in that situation. I don't think we're going to see that, unfortunately. Only 2,000 souls. He went towards Hollow Point and the whatnot, but such a disgusting thing as the Urn's going to be turned in. So a little bit of souls back on the Leviathan side, but the mid boss is what the focus is going to be about. And you know what? Leviathan are going to have a real chance to contest this, and they're still down Listic, so there's a world they could steal this one away.
The downside is that I'm not sure Irizumi is going to be able to get there in time. Irizumi, they're best at actually contesting, but hey, Ivy, no slouch either. Mid-boss is still up. There's a big bounty if you actually get the killing blow on mid-boss. And okay, OC's picked up one. There's an opportunity right now for Leviathan. Sherrick out of the fight. Listic going to be slow to come in. Blob drops the last stand, and really great right now just looking for a target as Leviathan. Yeah, they just get out, Jason.
They got the man event. Oh, they got a stolen last stand, and he gets away from this one. Irizumi could come in huge for his team. He does go ahead and pop it. Looking for the refight off the back with the Majestic Leaf as well. The slowing Hex being thrown in, and they're looking for another kill. They might have it onto Listic once again. He's so low on HP. If they can just confirm this kill, this would be huge and give them a chance to take away mid-boss. But Listic showing his movement skills. Overseas picks up two here, and Leviathan might be able to turn this one around. Listic gets a counterspell and a parry over on Irizumi, but will it save his life with Rake there onto the side? And that's another kill coming through Cosmetical and Rake, the last two standing. Leviathan with all six. We might see an upset here. They were 50k down, but they're only 20k behind now, ZP.
I mean, Jason, this could be a generational throws we're seeing. The mid-boss is still up and available for Leviathan, so when they get the killing blow here, they're not only going to get a chunk of souls, they're going to get 3 rejuves in all likelihood. I mean, I don't think you're contesting this at all if you're Vrake or Cosmetical, so you talk about a game flip, and also think about what we set up for the late game stakes in this game. Suddenly, OCs is back online. You got a 40k Mirage, you got a team ready to go, a 38k Venator. I mean, Leviathan arguably now is the team at the advantage, even down 20k, because by the time these rejuvenators are used, Jason, they're not going to be down in souls anymore. It's going to be dead even, and Leviathan's going to be working now at the better late game composition.
I think that's our observers showing us the Echo Shard gut shot as well. You do not want to be fighting in these close quarters, and that's exactly where Overseas in that mid boss was able to pick up 2 kills, able to gut shot them with the heavy melee for the true damage. He's putting in work here, and 9.8k souls for Fremont as well. A massive turnaround in economy in Leviathan, showing they might have been down, but they're not out just yet. Lowkey W can't celebrate any win until they do finally take down that patron.
Also, again, Jason, a bit of a self-inflicted wound. You think about how the spree of pickoff started, why they went to mid boss down Listic, is that you chase an Abrams Venator team into close quarters against the two heroes that have the highest burst damage, just highest punish potential in a close quarters fight. It's a little bit of arrogance that we've hit this point that Leviathan now is the team with the edge in this game.
You know what's funny? This is exactly how they lost one of their games versus Abrahams last week. They kept fighting in close quarters up against a Venator and an Abrams, I believe it was. And they were giving opportunities for Abrahams to get clean kills with the amount of CC and damage they had. And they're doing it just yet again. They're not really fighting in areas that benefit them. Like Rake, how is he supposed to get a good ultimate off while this is happening? Okay, maybe in the pit, but they left the pit to go chase a kill up the staircase over towards the side of the map. So they're not really choosing where they fight well, even though they are fighting well, and Leviathan took complete advantage of that.
Yeah, and also, we're kind of talking about the ideas like, oh, Apollo's really good when playing from ahead. It's no longer ahead. You now have a 43k Venator that's going to take a look at Listic, give him one bad glare, and take away half his HP if the riposte and counterspell timing is not pristine. This is difficult for Lowkey W. Also, the peak Warden power spike is around 35k. Once you start getting in the super late game, Warden is still a fine character, but he's well beyond where he's gotten most of his useful abilities. Like, it's not as hard of a carry as some of the other things in the game. But Jason, now we're into a bit of base pressure here. Irizumi can open up here with the last stand copy, and Leviathan more than willing to come on in with the rejuve, take the Guardians, and just work the outskirts of this base.
What did Irizumi Echo Shard? Was it his Rabbit Hex? I'm pretty sure it's going to be most likely the Rabbit Hex. That's the only one that really makes sense.
That would make sense.
That's kind of gross. Like the amount of downtime you have as a player when you're up against the Echo Shard Rabbit Hex. I mean, again, if you're fighting in close quarters, you just can't do anything. You're just locked down forever. Then you have to worry about the Abrams. You have to worry about the gut shot. There's so much CC that you have to be careful of as your Lowkey W. And the problem is now they're losing the first shrine. Leviathan have the sole lead for the first time in the entire game, it feels like. And the second shrine is just moments away from being taken on. OC's at 48,000 souls. He has the protection of his team. He has the damage he needs now. And Irizumi has opened up a lot of space for him to play with here. How is Lowkey W going to survive this one? It has to come down to this Death Slam. And it looks like it's just going to connect onto one. Oh, and he rescue beams him. He saves overseas.
Rescue beam, right place, right time. And if you're Lowkey W, you just kind of have to watch as the patron gets pummeled here. The rejuve is not done yet. And if you go for the full trades, it's probably not going to work out in your favor. Sherrick, though, gets caught, ends up falling. And now Lowkey W stuck defending second stage patron 5-on-6. If you're Leviathan, you got 3 rejuves. You send it here and now. You look to end this game. The Uradomini popped, is put away. Second stage patron under assault. All at stake now for Lowkey W. The prevent would be a huge throw. We'll see if they have it in them. Blob pops the last stand, goes into the back line. For now, a bit of a disengage at Leviathan. Leviathan looking pretty healthy overall. OCs, though, a little bit lower right now. Damage coming in the OCs. The rejuve is full gone now, Jason, so deaths are going to be for real. Overseas, though, catches Listic in the middle of things. Combo coming out lane to the fight. The punish there from Cosmetical. 2 down for Lowkey W, 1 down for Leviathan. They might have done enough to save the base.
Yeah, but Overseas and OCs are still alive. You cannot afford to chase this one any further than you need to. You cannot afford to be caught out here. And yes, they do live to fight another day, keeping the Archmother alive for a little bit of extra time. But Leviathan have just really put their foot down on this game. OC's up to 50k now. Inhibitor, Silencer, Crippling Headshot, Ricochet, Armor Piercing. Actually, he doesn't have Inhibitor right now. He's going for Inhibitor next. My bad. He has so much damage around him.
It's been alerted to me. I have not taken a close look at it. Can we take a look at Blob's build? Being told it's not the Warden standard, is what I'm hearing here.
No Glass Cannon. No Vampiric Burst. No Lucky Shot.
Yeah, these are what you normally go on Warden. To the point that it's so standard that I wouldn't normally take a look. But if we can get a view of Blob on the items here in a moment, I would be curious. Because if you're a 51k Warden and you're missing Glass Cannon Vamp Burst at that point, that is...
Well, you've kind of missed the window for Glass Cannon, right? Like, because they've been on the back foot the entire time. Realistically, to stack it, there's no chance to stack it. So he does have Vamp Burst, he does have Bakura, and he does have Lucky Shot. What's your thoughts on this?
Oh, got Vamp Burst there, Lucky Shot. I mean, I think Glass Cannon should have been grabbed earlier. I mean, Spell Singer's there. It's mostly... I don't know. It's not... I would generally prefer what you'd see someone like John build on average for something like this. Also, I didn't see a source of like ability to shoot without having your movement speed put down. Maybe his surge power. I didn't quite tell, but you didn't have fleet foot.
Yeah.
Okay, if you surge power, you still have that at least, but I don't know. I think you actually still want to go earlier glass cannon.
Yeah, I mean, I think switching to that now is just, there's no point, right? Because you're not gonna be able to stack anything. There was a donation that came through though, ZP, that I think you need to be the one to read, since Kalaris and I have done quite a few from Haas's. I put it for you to see.
Okay, let me look. Oh, I get this one. All right, well, it's from Haas's, and I'll say it without any sort of hesitation, saying, quote, "I want Ivy to bounce on me," from Haas's.
Okay, remind me, chat, to sound clip that to put on my soundboard for later. That's gonna be great to have, but also it's great here is another combo coming through, this time on OCs. The charge comes through to actually dislodge him to keep OCs alive. He misses the dash there beyond that. The chain gang could come up big here, as actually it catches on to I think almost nothing. A death stun from the side as well. So much heckness and chaos breaking out in this one, as the last stand was being used as well. There's fighting in close quarters once again. Stolen last stand out of Irazumi, looking to push them back here. He still has Fremok in the front line, now playing from the high ground here. And Lowkey W, they've only lost one, but they need to retreat. Cosmetic, they're
so low
to go down.
They lose Listic towards the end. Cosmeco's gonna be lucky to get out with his life. Trax super low. Leviathan, they're gonna be able to take these kills, Jason, and likely just go direct to Patron. Only Fremok is down. OC's a little bit wounded, but for Lowkey W, you only got Cosmetical, Blob, and Vrake still up and around, and Blob might actually be caught. They know Blob is outside the base. It is a full hunt for the Warden here on the outskirts. Blob in real danger. Oh, wait, with the Fat Burst! Unbelievable! Just hits Rayek off to the side. I think it was off of parry, Jason. So Warden fighting, drops the metal skin, now going in towards OC's. There's absolutely no way he's actually gonna get OC's in this, and no, but makes it way more hectic than you would have believed. But now all of Lowkey W is dead, and it is gonna be Leviathan finishing the comeback, and that's just unreal, Jason.
That honestly could have been a massive turnaround if Blob was able to get those kills, able to just completely wreck Rayek here. But the Archmother, she's not going to live much longer here, and we will see Leviathan advance once again to play against Abrahams here, redeem themselves from last week, constantly trading back and forth with Lowkey W, and OC's on the team has netted them a victory here, and a well-earned victory, being down over 50,000 souls in this game. That's not easy to come back from.
That was wild. What did we just watch here? That is ridiculous stuff here, of course, as Leviathan will be moving on into that winners match. I want to ask you guys, though, straight away, what do we think is the symptom of all of that? I mean, not having a proper support on Lowkey W, is that why they were having some strange little cheeky builds here and there? What do you think, ZP, for all of this?
Oh, I think you're playing something like a Mo composition, and you get 30k ahead. You need to not make stupid mistakes like chasing an Abrams and Venator into close quarters. Like, you had your lead, you had your win condition. Your comp did what it was supposed to do, which was give you a lead for that point in the game. You cannot make a mistake and throw it away and then suddenly give the team with the better late game comp an even fight. I mean, I think to me, this is pure execution error. I don't think it's team comp error. I think realistically, Lowkey W had this game in the bag. They made a bad play. Leviathan made a good play as far as punishing it, and that was it.
Do you echo that, Jason?
Yeah, I think it honestly comes down to the second mid boss when they baited the scream, ran up the stairs, and then they were completely like closed in on. That's where Overseas opened things up, or sorry, OCs opened things up with the initial kill. And then Overseas was able to pick up a double because they're again fighting such close quarters, having the Echo Shard gut shot. I think that one mistake caused the downfall out of Lowkey W. I think they had it in full control. I mean, they're 50k up, like they should be able to close out that game. But that's kind of what, being like a newer team, still trying to figure things out across each other to make the right calls in the right moments. That's something they need to go through to continue to improve as a roster. Because as we've talked to so many pros, it's about playing perfect. When you're in the lead, it's about playing perfect to close out the game, minimizing your mistakes, and that one mistake cost them the game.
Take a look at the highlights from this game. I'm a bit of a cosmetical enjoyer, ZP, I must say, and I was really enjoying the shift for the most part. But again, you know, being so green heavy, not having a support, and then not being able to get much done towards the end, because you're going up against a monster of OCs on the Mirage and Overseas as well, popping things with the Venator. It's crazy stuff to try and fight against.
Yeah, and again, okay, well, the one thing I'll mention comp-wise here where, you know, I think Listic may have bit off more than they could chew at points was kind of overestimating just the level of things Apollo could get away with. I don't know. I didn't love the Apollo in this comp, like, overall, when you look at the totality of the game. Like, that's maybe the part you could go back and look and be like, not a fan. Well, everything else, though, I mean, look, you would kind of expect the Mo to fall off in late game, but you get a big lead in the process. And they were able to get to that lead, and, you know, they just overcommit when they have a big advantage. They let Leviathan back into the game, and, you know, it doesn't really matter at that point if your Shiv has had a good game if all of a sudden everything else in the game is working against you.
See, I kind of want to counter that, and, you know, I'm fine being wrong, I'm fine being right in this situation, but honestly, I think Listic did his job as Apollo. I think he got them early game control. He got them snowball fairly early. He created space to allow Blob to continue to farm, because Blob never fell behind OCs in farm when it came to like the 1v1 there. I think it literally came down to that one fight in the snowball that happened after that. And obviously Apollo will fall off later on in the game, but I feel like as like a spirit initial carry like that, I feel like he did his job. I think he did it well.
I like what you're saying. I mean, I think that, yes, I think there's finesse to Apollo, similar to being a fencer, and that finesse doesn't quite carry into the hammer you need towards the end, ZP, of Blob being able to do what he can do. But again, it just didn't look like it was enabled as much as some of the previous games in the Night Shift.
Yeah, I mean, here's one thing that I'd actually have to go back on VOD review to look at here is that, so Listic kind of took the 1-on-2 and was like off fighting for a while there. Was that effective versus just being with your team, like as you've drawn off two players?
That's fair.
Or was that a case where Listic thought he could do that and get away safely, and dying there was a mistake? I don't actually know without looking back in. I also think, you know, the pickoff that started it all was getting picked off in close quarters as Apollo. Did Listic go in there and think, okay, I'm Apollo, I'll live, and then, oh shit, I'm not gonna live because it's Abrams Ven at that point? I don't really know. I mean, some of this is execution error, some is like decision making, but Lowkey W was really ahead in the game, and it was just a few mistakes that happened that, you know, suddenly threw it the other way. That being said, by the way, Spirit Damage Ivy actually pumping. If you look at the stats here.
Definitely. Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Do you guys see what I see? Is that a bug? I'm waiting for you to notice it. It's your boy, Cars. I'll give you a little hint.
Little cosmetical?
Look what he bought. A refresher.
Oh, that is so odd.
I find it
that is unexpected.
I'm theorizing about it, and ZP, I think what I could see from it is you use your ultimate as a gap closer, and then you just refresh it to finish off a kill. Because it doesn't really do like insane damage early on, but the fact is you can close gaps with that.
It also may have been some late game. I wasn't looking directly at the cooldowns, but it may have been some late game stuff of they're about to push a base. My killing blow is on cooldown. I'm going to sell an item to get killing blow back because we're about to lose the game.
Yeah, that's also.
I really enjoy the idea though, Jason, that you're like, I'm waiting for you guys to see it in this graphic that has the most information out of any esports graphic known to man.
I didn't expect you to actually catch on to it. It was more of like building up, building up the suspense of like, wait, what's Jason gonna say? Let me see. What is it? Yeah, I think ZP he might be right in that. But I mean, look at that swing right before 32 minutes. Like that is a crazy comeback to have happen. And there was a lot of like individual plays that was so sick. Like again, I think back to the way Leviathan pushed walkers and having Psy proxy the mid wave behind it, and then having the ability to rotate over. Like him and OCs, they have so much global presence because of flight, because of the Traveler. It's really hard to prevent them from taking walkers against you. And I think they did a really good job in the macro game of controlling Lowkey W.
I think you're dead right. 20 minutes hits, right? And they're kind of towards the mid walker pushing that. And they say to themselves, wait a minute, we're way too close to where these buffs are, right? So Psy flies, takes Freemock over towards the furthest away walker. And it did seem like, ZP, some of those macro moments, they might not have been the instrumental thing that actually brought them back in that moment right there, but they're the little things that will add up to keep them in the game.
Well, yeah, it stopped them from getting blown out. That's a really good point to go back to. The idea, there was that one urn where Lowkey W put everything in the urn, they gave up 2 walkers for it. 2 walkers for urn is not a good trade. And yeah, even though they were able to win the next mid boss and get really ahead of the game, you kind of forget about that moment. But the game could have been over a lot sooner if you decide maybe we don't trade urn for 2 walkers. Maybe we actually have such a big lead that Leviathan is locked on slots. Like you can have moments where you're just like, oh, I'm Mirage and I have no additional flex slots because we haven't got a walker all game. And you don't get those moments if you trade 2 walkers for 1 urn.
Yeah, definitely. There were some other donations that came in during all of that as well towards the end. Carlos Magnus with 20 for shifting all night. We had Cooper Trooper 39 as well with the subscription. We had Schmorf again with another $50. What a gamer. So that's 100 for the pot. and Mox Nox Extra here with 300 krona. So keep those coming, because those are all contributing towards the prize pool for all of these players. We want to see even more and make these players get paid at the end of the day. Right, Jason?
Yeah, get paid and see some Page cosplays. There's no other better night than that.
I heard about that. Yeah, I read that as well. Are you actually going to cosplay? I liked Deffy's silver. That was impressive. It did weird things to me. But
his silver made me reconsider some of my life choices for sure. But I think he would do a better Page than me. Blank. I think he would do a fantastic Page cosplay.
I thought I was going to get put in hot seat here.
I mean, is his hair? It couldn't be worse than his current hair, right?
His hair's never right. We've known him for 10 years. It's ridiculous. I don't understand. Who do we think is going to be the MVP, Mr.
ZP? I think this was so difficult to choose, honestly. I think there was a couple of players in particular I was eyeing for this one. But for me, I had to look towards Irazumi, because the Sinclair, the disruption that he applied throughout that entire game. Nice. Again, the Echo Shard, Rabbit Hex as well, Majestic Leap. The amount of ultimates he was able to steal, I think the impact he had really kind of kept them along in this game.
I think the key phrase there is entire game, which you don't always see from a Sinclair player. Like, oftentimes, anyone can play Sinclair and have a good laning phase for the most part. The hero is really, really strong at that point in the game. The part where Sinclair will fall off, especially in pro play, is are you still making good plays as you get into the mid game, as you get into the end game? And whether it be some of the micro fights that we saw later on, like, he was involved in that, 2-on-1 on Listic, or just general CC, or, some of the contests that we had in mid boss. Irazumi was doing the right things all game long.
It's also, Jason, moments of anticipation, right? You called out a great rescue beam towards the very end, and you were watching him, kind of an overarching Overwatch position, ready to go for that kind of save. So it's great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's I think playing very methodical. I think being very mindful of where he's positioned, being mindful of what ultimate to steal, because I think that's one of the hardest parts about Sinclair is which ultimate to steal at which point of a fight or which point of a game. I think is very, very important. And he had great last stand steals. He had great death slam steals, even some combos mixed in there. I mean, he pretty much did all of it. And this is the rescue beam that we're talking about. He knew the death slam was coming in, immediately pulls Venator overseas back in towards them to keep him alive and keep him out of harm's way. Because realistically, the only way Lowkey W win that fight there is a big death slam.
Yeah. Also, seeing some of these highlights, it kind of reminds me where it may have felt like we were being a little bit harsh on Listic, going like, man, things did not go well as Apollo. I also kind of feel like, though, like even the pick that kind of put things in motion, right? Apollo at his heart is going to be a hero that tests limits. It is a hero where the difference between looking like a god and looking like the guy that threw the game is going to be like a very small margin of if you hit your abilities. So as people learn Apollo and mix him into these games a little bit more, you're going to have moments where a really good player will otherwise like look bad on the hero, because that is the nature of Apollo. You are either going to look awesome or you're going to look like crap. There's not a lot of in between, and that's a very hero specific thing for Apollo.
Yeah, what do you do if your Bankai gets broken? It's a tough old time for good old Apollo there, but
become a vampire, I guess.
Something to do with Bleach, but
something Bleach reference.
Yeah, I can see also some requests for cosplay for Colaris. There is really only one character, isn't there? When I first saw Kelvin in the game, I was like, somebody's bound to say this at some point, right, Jason? That seems accurate.
It's maybe because of the pasty skin, right?
Yes, I look like undead, super pale. Like a white, like I died in the tundra, and it's nothing to do with the gingerness.
You think about it, between us three here, when Jason has the full mustache going, he is a good Lash. Apart from me, face shape and glasses, I have Abrams, we got Kelvin. Like, we're pretty set for Halloween. Like, it's not bad what we have going right now.
I'm glad you've invited me for the Halloween edition of the night shift. Thank you very much. It's brilliant.
ZP's getting horny.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know. He's getting horny. He saw the copy pastas. He saw what some of the people. You know what? I think. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Colors, get us out of here, please.
All right.
Save my career.
Quickly look at the bracket to confirm what is already known here, as we will have Leviathan going up against Abrahams in the next match, a best of 3 to determine who's going to become the champion of EU. But will it be the run back, as always, of the Titan Abrahams ZP, looking devastatingly strong?
Look, I think anyone that's been following the last few months would be kind of foolish to say Abrahams won't win, but we say that all the time about the favorites until eventually they lose, and this could be the week. You never know until the game is actually played.
Yeah, all the game closes out because Abrahams keeps making these insane recovery Fs happen in the last couple of weeks, and it is terrifying. Anything to say before they break, Jason?
You're ginger.
That is very true and accurate, and we'll be accurate right on the other side of this. Schmorf with $100 before the break. Chudzu, there you go. It's time for the break. We're back after this with the best of 3.